Hey gang, are you out there dreaming about maybe getting your first cruiser? Because if you are, this Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Custom might just tick all the boxes. So yeah, I'm out here riding today on this Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Custom that I actually bought as a first cruiser, first bike ever for one of my new riders in my family. And it has actually been the first bike for two new riders in my family over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. And it's been an awesome bike. Doesn't get a lot of action these days because we've got other bikes that we ride now. It was a fantastic first bike for multiple people, and it got me thinking about why that is. And this bike has a lot to offer, and I'm going to tell you why. The Vulcan it's kind of a cult classic out there. It's got a cult following. You know, people really love the aggressive styling it's got. The power is enough, and it's really got really good constant power delivery. It's got torque just all the time in every gear. You can take off from a standstill in third gear and it never even seems like it's going to choke out at all. Lots of torque on the low end. Whoa, what we got going on here? Clear cutting. It's never good. But if you don't believe me that this bike has a cult following, just go out to any review on this bike where somebody's bad-mouthing it and just read through the comments. It's kind of entertaining. People get up in arms when you start bad-mouthing this bike, and probably for pretty good reason. It's a 903cc fuel-injected engine, and it is just it's super comfortable to ride. You're in a nice low-slung saddle, seated position. Your knees are almost over your feet. I have to be honest, if this were to be my daily rider, I would probably put forward controls on this, but I'm a taller person. But you know, for someone of average height, this is a perfect bike. Nice upright position, very comfortable. You can just crush the miles for days on this thing and never get fatigued, never get tired. Just a great leisurely cruiser. And it's got plenty of power. The 900 cc's, it'll whip your hair back as you take off and go through the gears. But for first-time riders, it's not enough to get you in trouble. So it's enough to give you a thrill, but not get you in trouble. And 900 cc's is plenty for you to continue to grow into this bike. It could be your first bike, it could be your intermediate bike, it could be your forever bike. And speaking of the power on this guy, I have been told, and I can't say that this is accurate with any authority, I'm just recanting information I've heard, that what Kawasaki got right about this engine is they took the Sportster engine, the 883 Sportster, and they took that popular design and they balanced it and gave it the power that those bikes probably should have always had. The result is you've got a bike that's got plenty of power, lots of torque on the low end. It'll take off, like I was saying, it'll take off in every gear. And the combination of tuning and the gear ratios and the cc's and the fuel injection, this bike will flat walk a Sportster 883. It'll probably even walk a Sportster 1100 from what I've heard. And that's saying a lot. I have heard said that it was intended to be this, you know, a Sportster Killer or a Sportster competitor or whatever you want to say, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because it does not look like a Sportster at all. Hold up there, Chief. Thank you. Be careful through these roundabouts because people just do not stop for a motorcycle. It is a great bike. It's pretty simplistic. I mean, it's kind of old school, right? There's not a lot of modern touches on it. This is a 2007. They really haven't changed. You could put a 2005 right next to this 2007 and they're the same bike, even to this day. It's a 5-speed, and unfortunately what that means is when you get up into the highway speeds, it's got plenty of power, but you're going up into the high RPMs at the 70, 75, 80 mile an hour range, and it could really use an overdrive. It would be a perfect first bike if it had an overdrive or a 6th gear, because when you get up into those the 75, 80 miles an hour in 5th gear, man oh man, you are feeling some super duper vibrations, I'm telling you what. But the silver lining of the fact that this bike hasn't changed at all in so long is you can get an older model. As long as you find one that's got low miles on it, you're getting a bike that is the same bike as if you bought one off the showroom floor as a 2024, 2025, and you can get it for a steal. I mean, this bike right here, 2007, really all the way up through probably the early teens, you could get for about $4 grand. It's a very, very budget friendly bike, which again makes it a great first cruiser for somebody. All right, let's pull off here. Let's get a good look at it. Let's get a good look at it from the side. Let's pull in here. Let's hop off the bike, look around it a little bit, talk about some of the features we can't see while we're riding it. The ignition key is old school over here on the side, which I think is kind of cool. One thing that's really cool about this bike is I actually saw a video from Sean from SRK Cycles where he was saying that he ran a contest and this bike won the contest for best beginner bike. So again, professional vote of confidence there as a great first bike for adults, mind you. Now, I happen to love the styling of this bike, but I'm a bit of a fanboy. I own 3 Vulcans and I love the Vulcan styling, but it's got a great aggressive styling, beautiful front headlight, water cooled. You see your radiator up there up front. It's got this beautiful custom rim up front, 21-inch rim, nice skinny tire. Some people don't like that. I happen to like that kind of retro style. Stock pipes, they got a bit of a rumble to them. You could probably put some aftermarkets on if you wanted a bit more of a muscular note. These look like big old straight pipes, but they're really not. You can see the baffles in there. Got a single disc brake in the back, single disc brake in the front. It is belt driven, so you don't have to worry about any type of chain maintenance. I'm not super duper crazy about the blinker assembly or the license plate holder. I actually hacksawed that thing off on my main streak, but this one we've kept stock for all the years and it's good. I used to have the modification bug when I was younger, but now I just like to leave things stock and enjoy the ride. It's got a nice comfortable seat, great big square style mirrors. Not particularly aggressive looking or fancy, but they're super functional. So control wise, just very basic, right? Left, right blinkers, horn, high beams, on, off, kill switch. The gauges also just very basic. Neutral, blinker indicator, high beam. You do have a fuel gauge and a low fuel indicator, so that's nice. So you can see where your fuel is at, and also it'll start screaming at you when you really need to fill back up. Standard speedometer, which says 130 miles per hour, although I do not recommend trying to make this bike go 130 miles an hour, and I don't think this bike will go 130 miles an hour, but I could be wrong. Does not have a tachometer, so no indication of what your RPMs are, and no gear indicator. That's probably one other thing that is missing on here that would be nice. It needs an overdrive, it needs a 6th gear, and it needs a gear indicator, but for what you're getting for the price, it's hard to complain. Does not have cruise control. Again, super minimalistic bike, aggressive styling, great power for what it is, super low price. Yeah, it's hard to complain. 5.3 gallon tank, and it gets about 45 to 50 miles a gallon. So So you got a really nice range on this bike. Of course, with that 21-inch rim, you've got a custom fender. On the back, you've got a pretty nice, decently wide 180 back tire. Gives you plenty of grip to get up and go. And speaking of maintenance, not having to worry about that chain maintenance, this is a very simple designed bike. It's super simplistic and easy to work on. Let's get it back out on the road and give it a little bit of power. Let you see that. One thing I will say about this bike is it is over 600 pounds. It's about 617, I think, pounds wet, full tank. One benefit of that is it's going to stay firmly planted when you're going highway speeds, and it's super easy to maneuver around the parking lot as well. And because it's so low to the ground, it's got a really low center of gravity, so really easy to maneuver. Even though it has kind of a heavier weight to it, it's very easy to maneuver for first-time riders. You're not going to get yourself in trouble. And another thing that's nice about it being, kind of an intermediate CC bike is maybe you don't want your first bike to be a low CC bike. I mean, if you're looking at some like jaunt-about bikes, some cafe racers or naked sports bikes, or a little scrambler, whatever it may be, a 300cc, 400cc, even a 500cc bike may seem a little anemic to you, and this is going to have more power than that. It's going to give you a little bit of torque as you take off, whip your hair back a little bit, but like we said earlier, it's not going to get you in trouble. Yeah, it'll go. The handling is really nice. It's very effortless in the turns. Of course, as I was laying on the throttle right there, went right by a cop. That's never good. And I can hear your thoughts out there for you purists. It's not a Harley. But you know what? You're right, it's not a Harley. But it's probably a better performing bike than a lot of Harleys out there for half, maybe even a third of the price. And you know what? If you want to graduate up to a Harley, more power to you. But again, this is a fantastic first bike for somebody. Like I said, when you get down to 70, or you get up to 70, I don't feel it in my butt. My butt feels perfectly fine, but I can feel it in the handlebars and the tank against my knees. I can feel that vibration a lot. So it's not a super high speed bike, but it's made to cruise, and it'll chew up the miles. Alright, so gang, tell me all about what you think about this bike. Do you think it'd be a good first bike for somebody? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Why? Tell me all about it in the comments below. And you know what? I'm not pushing this bike on somebody. I'm just talking from my own personal experience that this has been a great first bike for two people in my riding family. But if you know of a better first bike for somebody out there that's comparable, and I don't mean like a lightweight 300, 400cc bike. I'm talking about something that's a middleweight bike, but still really good for first riders, that's comparable to this, that they can use as their first bike and then move up, or even keep this as an intermediate bike or more of a long-term bike and grow into it. If you know something that kind of is in that class that's better than this, I would love to hear about it, and I assure you everybody in the motorcycle community would love to hear about it as well. So tell us all about it. So hey gang, if you made it this far, I really do appreciate you. Would love it if you help the YouTube algorithm find us a little bit more by hitting that like and subscribe button. And in the meantime, we will continue to bring you along for all of our rides. And until then, we'll see you in the next one.